U.S. President Donald Trump on October 3rd demanded that Israel immediately stop bombing Gaza. The reason, according to him, is that Hamas has accepted some of the conditions within the U.S. plan for freeing hostages and ending the war. Trump said he believes Hamas has shown its readiness for a lasting peace and that the responsibility now lies with the Israeli government. Israel must immediately stop bombing Gaza so that we can safely and quickly bring out the hostages, Trump wrote on his page. We are already discussing the details. This is not only about Gaza, it is about long-awaited peace in the Middle East, he added. In response, Hamas did not agree to disarm or demilitarize Gaza, conditions demanded by Israel and the United States but previously rejected by Hamas.
It appears that Hamas is demanding the complete and immediate withdrawal of Israel. In its response regarding Trump's proposal, Hamas stated that under a swap formula, it is ready to release all captives held under the occupation, whether alive or deceased, under appropriate conditions. Additionally, Hamas expressed its readiness to promptly begin negotiations. The group also declared its willingness to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to an authority made up of independent Palestinian figures based on national Palestinian consensus. Meanwhile, the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that Israel will continue full cooperation with the president and his team in efforts to end the war.
In accordance with the principles set out at the Israeli side, it was stated that the position aligns with President Trump's views. Nevertheless, local residents said that even after Trump's demand, Israeli tanks stayed for a long time on Falatini Street in the center of Gaza City. Israeli warplanes intensified airstrikes in Gaza City, attacking several houses. According to Gaza's health authorities, more than 66,000 Palestinians have been killed since Israel's invasion began in October 2023. The attacks have devastated the entire area. The UN Investigation Commission confirmed that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza.
Bloomberg news agencies, citing its sources, reported that the European Parliament is studying the possibility of accelerating the rejection of Russian energy imports. The European Parliament is examining ways to phase out imports of Russian oil and gas. According to the report, the Parliament's Industry Committee will vote on the Repower EU plan, which envisions stopping oil imports from 2026 and gas imports a year later. The vote is scheduled to take place on October 16th.
In a plan announced in 2022, the European Union countries aim to abandon Russian gas by 2027-2028. During this period, Russia's supply of liquefied natural gas increased by 40%, while pipeline gas deliveries fell from 70% to 60%. On September 19th, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, proposed the 19th package of sanctions, which includes a ban on importing Russian liquefied natural gas starting in 2027.
The Wall Street Journal reported that the United States and Ukraine are preparing a historic agreement under which Washington will purchase Ukraine's latest drone technologies that have been tested in combat conditions. On September 30th, a delegation led by Serhiy Boyev, Ukraine's Deputy Minister of Defense, traveled to Washington, D.C. to hold negotiations with the Pentagon and the U.S. Department of State. The publication also noted that while advanced drones are being developed in the U.S. as well, Ukraine has moved far ahead in this field, as its technologies are being proven effective in real battlefield conditions every day. Moreover, Ukrainian-made drones are significantly cheaper, costing only about 35% of the price of similar Western systems.
According to sources familiar with the negotiation process, the parties are currently exploring several possible mechanisms for technology transfer. Among the options being considered are providing American companies with drone prototypes in exchange for royalties, establishing a joint venture that would allow Ukrainians to independently manufacture drones in the United States, or enabling Washington to directly purchase drones from Ukraine for its own military needs.
Ukraine on the verge of a mega-drone deal with America. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced on September 27 that Kyiv is working on implementing a new agreement in the drone sector, a deal that could become an important part of a multi-billion-dollar plan to purchase U.S. weapons. The president emphasized that Ukraine aims not only to strengthen its defense capabilities, but also to acquire long-range missiles, which could fundamentally change the situation on the front lines.
Israel attacks flotilla. 80 Turkish activists illegally detained. Reports are emerging that Turkish activists were unlawfully detained following attacks by the Israeli Navy on the Global Silence International Flotilla. According to a statement given to Anadolu Agency by Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the number of detained activists has reached 80. According to available information, during the first attack, which lasted from the night of October 1 to the morning of October 2, 74 Turkish activists were captured and taken to Israel. However, the incidents did not end there. During a new operation carried out on October 3 in the morning, the flotilla's final ship, the Marietta, was also seized illegally. The 6 activists on board were detained as well. The flotilla participants had declared that their goal was to deliver humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip, but Israel described the move as having been heroically resisted. The legality of the attack and the treatment of the activists have sparked widespread public debate. The international community, particularly Turkish society, is expressing serious concern about the fate of the detained activists.
It has been reported that the process of deporting the detained activists has begun, and it will take some time. 4 participants of the flotilla have already been deported, but their identities have not been disclosed. In addition, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced in a written statement that 4 Italian members of parliament who were part of the flotilla and detained by Israel have been released. The Global Silence Flotilla had set sail for the shores of Gaza with the goal of breaking the blockade and delivering humanitarian aid. It approached Gaza waters on the evening of October 1 when the Israeli army intercepted dozens of ships in the flotilla. Global Silence remains the largest initiative to date aimed at delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza by sea, setting a record in terms of both the number of vessels and participants involved. It has been reported that the process of deporting the detained activists has begun, and it will take some time. 4 participants of the flotilla have already been deported, but their identities have not been disclosed. In addition, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced in a written statement that 4 Italian members of parliament who were part of the flotilla and detained by Israel have been released. The Global Silence Flotilla had set sail for the shores of Gaza with the goal of breaking the blockade and delivering humanitarian aid. It approached Gaza waters on the evening of October 1 when the Israeli army intercepted dozens of ships in the flotilla. Global Silence remains the largest initiative to date aimed at delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza by sea, setting a record in terms of both the number of vessels and participants involved.